Hello, everybody. Good weekend to you. It's Saturday, Sunday. It's Hollywood Bets Kenilworth. We're back at the Kenilworth meet now, and good to be back. Of course, looking forward to a super season that starts from now. 9 races carded on social media. We have our Twitter account. Remember, at Weighted to Win's our handle, our WhatsApp number. That's up there for you to jot down and just send your name and email address and be part of the family to get the information and the show sent to you. 4racing.tv, DSTV 240, and all of it that comes with it. Daryn Burroughs and Maree, our analysts, of course. And this week has been good. They've caught a couple of pick sixes. Well done, Daryn Burroughs. Good to see you in the winning queue.
Thanks, Clyde. Yes, I could have bankered the Mike de Kock first-timer and caught it for half the price, but nevertheless, it did arrive. And I look forward to the weekend's racing. Hopefully, we can crack another pick six or two.
Let's hope that's the case. Let's talk about the first on the card where we got this horse, Orzenker, favourite at 7-2. Second choice on Friday. Remember, we do this on a Friday. 7 Inside Stories trading at 15-4. And there's 5-1 about Gimmy's Lady. Let's start the first. How do you recommend we make a bit of, put something together to get our bipods on?
Well, if you go on reputation, then Inside Story, definitely the horse to beat. He was all the talk on debut. That Durbanville, the track was running very fast. He was off the pace. He was making good late progress. And I think this testing 1200 at Kenilworth is going to suit him much more. So even though he's looking for further in time to come, I think Inside Story will go close.
Okay, Inside Story from Daryn Burroughs' side, so watch out for that in terms of the market. Let's talk to Darryl Maree. Inside Story is trading at around 15-4. What would you do to get something together for the rest of the day?
I'd watch them move down to the start, Clyde. There's a few first-timers in here that could be anything.
Anything you know about them?
Nothing, unfortunately. Orzenker, obviously, he beat Inside Story on that occasion, and he's a kilogram worse off. But Inside Story was very green around the bend. But I think the only thing that beats him this time around, Clyde, is the distance. If it's not on the sharp side for him, I expect him to bring his ability to the track. Now, number 5, Captain Casanova. I watched his replay, Clyde. He was all at sea around the bend. Very, very green. He looks like a lovely sort. I don't think he was suited to the Durbanville track. And I'd love to see how he goes up the Kenilworth straight.
All right, so there are a few to watch. There are comments, obviously, in the computer form about first-timers that you can make reference to. Let's get our recommended play, race 1. This is what we want to do, and Daryn says, well, we should start with Inside Story. Welcome to the second race. Now time for a maiden class field over 1,200 metres. So we're at Kenilworth. It's up the straight. Don't forget all of that. And interestingly enough, from the comments out of the computer form with regards to a particular first-timer that caught the eye for me was Jazz Diva, where Mr. Nell says it's a small athletic filly but should run well. From a market perspective, Daryn Burroughs, it's all about this horse Red Sash is trading at around 14-10. The question is whether it's good enough for a bipod.
Clyde should be good enough. 2 good seconds. Last time out against the Colts, moved up like a winner, didn't quite go through with it. So it'll be interesting to see how she goes over the 1,200. Dangers, Busy Lizzie, Anna Karina, and Turkish Kellam.
Okay, those are the dangers in terms of the favourite. Let me get to Darryl Maree now, talk about what he thinks.
I'm happy to bank her in the bipod, Clyde. I'll be very disappointed if she doesn't finish in the top 2. Daryn mentioned that she cantered in her last starts, and it was disappointing to see her get beaten on that occasion.
Yeah.
But I think with 2 runs under the belt, that racing experience will stand her in good stead over here. Anna Karina. Now, I do believe this filly may well turn out to be well above average in time to come, but I'm worried about the 1,200. I think when she goes over a mile and further, you can follow her.
Okay, well, she's drawn up the outside. We'll see how that all ends up. Watch out, Anna Karina, perhaps as the danger to the favourite. From a bipod perspective, this is what we intend on doing. We go through yours, Darryl.
Yes, let's just see how Captain Casanova goes in the first race, Clyde. Hopefully he does frank that form. I'm bankering number 11 by 4 and 7, bank the 8, bank the 2, bank a 7 by 2, 4, 5, 12 and 16. That will cost you 10 Rand.
All right, Daryn, there's your bipod on screen. Let's go through that.
Yes, I'm hoping to double up in the first leg. 8, 11, 12, 13 by 4, 5, 7 by 8, by 2, by 7, by 2, 12, 14 and 16, 5 times for 240 Rand.
So is Hunting Trip good enough to win the third, Daryn?
She's a nice filly, She's coming on the right way. Horses like Cityscape, I'm leaning towards. I think this filly's looking for the 1,200-meter trip. She was staying on in her last start. It was a good run, first run out the maidens. And then Hunting Trip won a good maiden last time out. I believe she's looking for further in time to come, but there is quality about her. And the best of the rest, Camille Claudel.
Okay. So perhaps there are a few from a place accumulator perspective, Darryl, your side?
I think you could even take a chance and bank number 4 Cityscape, Clyde. Now, they have met in the past.
Yep.
Hunting Trip obviously beat her quite comfortably. But Cityscape was making her debut on that occasion. She's 4 kilograms better off. She was disappointing in her later start, but she had excuses. I think up the Kenilworth straight, getting 4 kgs from Hunting Trip, I'm expecting her to reverse that form.
Okay. And going over what's this distance now? This is the 1,200 for the first time, probably more in her favour or liking?
I'd like to believe so.
Cityscape.
Hunting Trip won extremely well, but I do believe that was a shallow field. But plenty scope for further improvement.
Okay.
Either or, you decide, Clyde. What do you say?
No, well, I mean, I think it's an interesting race. I think if it is those two, perhaps those are the two in the place accumulator, what we're going to lean on. Let's have a look at that now. We'll put those up and see. We'll go with yours, Darryl, and I see you've gone with both.
Yes, safety first, Clyde. 4 and 7, by banker 8, by banker 2, by banker 7, then a few, banker 5. That perm will cost you 40 Rand.
Okay, let's get to Daryn Burroughs. Daryn, let's get through yours.
Mine is 4 by 8, by 2, by 7, by 12 and 16, by 5. And then the last I'm looking to treble up. 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 11. It's a 14 Rand cost, 350 Rand, 25 times.
We're going to race number 4. Well, there we go. We're starting with what happened on Thursday. Well done there to Daryn Burroughs and the team. They picked up that 15,000 on that pick 6. So we're in form. That's the second pick 6 this week, which is very happy to report on. And long may it continue. And that's the reason why, of course, Daryn Burroughs sent these beautiful donuts again. Very nice of him all the way from Cape Town. So that Darryl needs to, carry a bit of weight in the handicap. Let's move on to race 4. Pick 6 is here. Daryn, let's start. We've got this horse Jazabella 5-2, talented. Alende's 5-2, and then there's about 6-1 bar those two. Is it those two or is it more?
I believe only one horse for me, Jazabella. Now this filly, I think she's looking for the mile. She was disappointing last time, a bit one-paced, but her form lines have both been franked in her last 2 starts. Her danger, Allende, for me, I don't think she'll see out the trip. I know she's by Dynasty, but her dam, Valdivia, won the Strelitzia over 1,000. Her half-brother, African Rain, is a 1,000-meter horse, third in the Cape Flying Championships. And she seems to have a lot of pace and then not find too much. So it's difficult to say if she'll see out the trip. So I'm going for Jazabella.
Okay, Jazabella for Daryn. What happened, Jazabella, last time that she couldn't get past? 7-10, etc.
She had every opportunity. She was disappointing, Clyde, but I don't believe we've seen the best of her yet. She's a big daughter of Master My Fate, still filling out her frame. I think she will get better with time and racing. I also believe she's going to certainly love the step up in trip, and I've also got my doubts over Allende going the distance. Allende's, all her siblings were sprinters.
Okay.
But being by Dynasty, you never know, Clyde. I think it's only the 2 of them that you have to focus on. The Snates will have a line through Say Yes. It will be interesting to see what they say. And we saw the form line of Jazabella being frank, Clyde. Jam won during the week.
Yes. So only one horse ran. And was Jam.
Because of the distance, I'm favouring Jazabella.
Okay. So from flying first where Jazabella ran second, Jam was third, the only runner come to win. So then we're all on Jazabella, I guess. Let's have a look at what the guys are doing from a pick 6 perspective, Darryl. Let's go through yours.
Yes, Clyde, this is affordable pick 6 in my opinion. 8 and 9 by 1 and 2, by banker number 7, the entire field by 5 and 10, and several at the back. 512 Rand.
All right, so affordable perm from that perspective. Let's get to Daryn. What's your story?
Yes, so I've started off bankering Jazz Bella the 8th, bankering my best bet on the card, Inara's Dynasty, by 3, 5, 7, by the field, by 5 and 8, by 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, and 11. Also an affordable cost of 672 Rand.
Race number 5 is a prestige plate. It's over 1,400 meters. Let's talk about the race. Daryn Burroughs on the line. We'll talk about race 5 from a jackpot perspective. Betting in terms of the market, in terms of how they've priced up. Inara's Dynasty, I know you're big on that. And as well on Friday was 18-10. Daryn, still confident?
Yes, this filly looks very classy, Clyde. She won a maiden in facile fashion. Last time out, she cantered home by 4 lengths. And I can't see horses like Hold My Hand and Golden Hostess giving her 3 kilos. I think Inara's Dynasty is a Guineas type filly, and I think she should win again.
Okay, so she's looking to go 3 on the trot for you?
Yeah, she certainly can pull it off, Clyde. Looks very, very impressive. It's lovely that she can settle just off the pace and show the turn of foot that she does possess. A lot in her favour, neat draw, in good form, and can certainly pull off a hat-trick.
In time flies, the second has come to win after
Correct,
that as well.
So has been franked. I've just opted to back her up in an exotic with Bonica. I was very impressed with the comeback run. It was over a distance short of her best. She's got her 1 draw. She's going to love the step up in trip, and she's going to strip fitter. So if Inara's Dynasty does happen to fluff her lines, I think Bahika could be the one to trouble her. 2 from 1 for me.
Okay. There's a lot of confidence on the side of Inara's Dynasty, though, as you've heard. So let's get to our selections for this race. And we're going with the combined jackpot, where 1 and 2 have both been included by 3, 5, 7 in the second leg. The whole field. And then right at the back of this jackpot, we're hoping that one of 5 or 10 arrive. And it's 192 Rand. Welcome back. Good to have you with us. Let's talk about the next race on the card, which is the Need for Speed Sprint. It's the start and the build-up to the Cape Flying and all of the series of races that come over the next 3 or 4 months. Hit Them Hard Sunshine. There's a comment that this horse it's a prep run, but is doing well and may be good enough, Daryn.
Definitely the horse to beat. He ran second behind Charles Dickens, who is one of the better 3-year-olds around at the moment. It is his comeback run, but it's 1,000 meters. And I think he'll take a lot of beating. Dangers would come from horses like Tough Terrain. Not a bad effort last time out. The drop-in trip, I don't think is going to be a problem. He shows pace. And then Chompy, returning after a long layoff. But this horse could have some quality about him. And Vaughan Marshall knows how to get them fit.
The comment from Vaughan Marshall, long injury layoff and got a place chance, which probably elevates the chance of Hit Them Hard Sunshine now.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Chompy today, Clyde.
You're a fan of Hit Them Hard Sunshine?
Yeah, I banked him in all my exotics. £7 best in. Obviously having no prep run, but the syndicate say he's not at his best, but his class could pull him through. Clyde, I don't know if you recall, Richard Free got off him, I think when he won his second start. He said this horse will contest the Cape Flying later on in his career. Right. That's the feel he gave him. So I'm expecting him to win despite the need of this outing.
Okay, so that's the message. Need the run, but good enough to win. They're not good enough to beat Hit Them Hard Sunshine, despite the fact that he may not be 100% fit. So it's an interesting race to watch. Let's have a look at what we're going to do. It does give us an opportunity to get a second jackpot on. Conservatively, 3, 5, 7 they've been included, the 5 being Tough Terrain as well. Then we're going the field again, 5 and 10, as you know. And right at the back, we'd like to include all of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 11. Perhaps it's 2 ways to play it. And banker Hit Them Hard Sunshine in the first leg, or alternatively play the conservative route if you're a little concerned and do what we're recommending on that slide. So the Southeast is a tough race. I mean, the market's not sure what to do, to be honest, Daryn. They're betting almost 7-1 the field here.
Yes, tough race, but give me a Prince, a quality horse. His 2 comeback runs after a lengthy layoff, he won both in good style. He returns after his Durban campaign, and I think he's going to run a big race. Dangers would come from Resonate. He's a good horse, and he should run a big race. I thought Ambiorix is well in, should run well, and then Sergey and Future Prince for minor money.
All right, tough. There are comments that are related to this race. If you don't know, Spring Awakening was down with an illness. Should enjoy running fresh. Intrepid, Justin Snaith says will need run, but include in exotics and place bets. Future Prince, Brett Crawford says working well, maybe slightly short, but expecting a good run for Future Prince. And then Bereave, and from the Adam Marcus table says first run back after a long layoff in good form. So it's a tough race. I don't know what you make of it.
I like that comment from the Crawford yard.
Future Prince.
Yeah. Expecting a good run. I know it's on the sharp side, Clyde, but he's won both his starts up the Kenilworth Straights. I've always loved this son of Futura. I think he's a really nice horse in the making. And running fresh, albeit on the sharp side for him, won't be a surprise to see him end up in the winner's enclosure. My top two picks have to be Ambiorix and Safe Return. Neither of them shone in KZ and Clyde, but Ambiorix in his first start back in the Western Cape, start to finish, he's back to himself, I think. And then Safe Return, 1,000 meters at Durbanville was too quick for him. Up the Kenilworth Straight over 6 furlongs, he's most effective over this track and trip. And with a 2 kg or a 1.5 kilo swing in his favor, I'm going to tip Safe Return to reverse that form with Ambiorix and Future Prince to fill up the trifecta.
Okay, so 4, 2, 5, or in an order, something like that. Let's have a look at selections then from the guys in terms of what we want to do. And we think it's these exactas and all of 2, 4, 5, 12, 14, 16 need to all be included. 8th race is the Cape Classic it's a 1,400 metre, and this particular event runs at around 5 to 5. The feature of the afternoon, and what a field it's attracted. Some superb horses that run here, like Charles Dickens that's coming to basically strut his stuff and show you how good he is. Is that the case, Daryn?
You can't fault this horse's form. You know, he's won 3 from 3, but his last 2 victories in facile fashion. He really is a smart horse. He's favourite for the Guineas, and this is his prep run. I think he'll take all the beating. I did back him up with At My Command in the pick 6. I was super impressed with his last win against Open Company. So I would tip him 5 from 10.
That's interesting that there's backup. You're also looking for backup?
I also backed him up in
Have
the
you?
pick 6. Yeah, with the same horse At My Command. Clyde, his handicap debut was wow. I mean, he's got the early toe to overcome that draw. Obviously, he's taking on a horse like Charles Dickens.
Yeah.
But he's a super horse himself. So he is the danger to Charles Dickens. I mean, what can we say about him? His latest start was possibly his most impressive to date. They gave him a chance, Clyde, and he quickened from off the pace, just off the pace, and you couldn't fault him. He's got the bend experience now. So Charles Dickens to win ahead of At My Command, and then just watch out for Countdown for trifectas and quartets. He's now been gelded, Clyde. I've always liked the look of him, and I don't believe we've seen the best of him yet. So 5-10-1 for me.
Interesting. I thought you guys were going to come here and tell me that Charles Dickens can't lose. So that's not the case, and that we're all very worried about this horse now At My Command, who won impressively.
Can you name one horse that can't lose?
No, there's no such certainty. We've told you, the only certainty in horse racing is the uncertainty. What about our horse, Dave the King? We know last time it never cornered, or I don't know what the multiple reasons. I'd like to see Dave the King show you how good he is.
I was lounging around the pool that day, Clyde. What did you see?
I saw nothing. It's just one of those things. I think he's a top horse. I'd love to see him challenge them today, Dave the King. It wouldn't surprise me to see him win, to be quite frank. I think he's a top horse. Anyway, we'll see how it all works out race time. The boys, however, believe that it's straight exacta. It's straight up 5 ahead of 10. On to the 9th. This is a middle stakes over 1,200 metres. Best weighted horses here. She's a Rainbow ahead of Dragonfly, Dean Street, and a horse like Ragnar Lothbrock, for example. But we did, I think, all day been saying the last is probably the most challenging. Daryn, your top 2 or 3?
Tough race, Clyde. You know, horses like Ragnar Lothbrock really improved with the blinkers on. I know he's stepping up in class, but he should run well. I'm hoping Dean Street can recapture his best form. He was disappointing last time out. Back at Kenilworth up the straight, I think he'll run a much improved race. The second wave can't be ignored, and Dragonfly will be running home late.
Okay, tough race. In terms of the market, when we were doing this on Friday, Daryn, Ragnar was at 5-1, Dragonfly 11-2, 6-1, about a horse like it's raining William, and so they get bigger as they go. Yours first two or three?
And the second wave?
The second wave's at 8-1 at the moment.
Wow.
If you want some of that.
I'll suggest each way bets on him, Clyde.
Okay.
He's dropped much fitter. And on his day, up the Kenilworth Straight, this horse can really go with the best of them. I think he represents the value. Obviously, Dragonfly make his danger now. He's also most effective up the Kenilworth Straights. So I'm in a tricky event. I'm going to tip 2 from 1.
2 ahead of 1 in a tricky event, which takes care of our Kenilworth preview. Let's have a look at what the recommendation, though, is into the last. And that's a trifecta where we're boxing all of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 11. It is that open.